Hey guys, welcome back to Master Your Mobility. So this is week 2, day 2 of workouts. Today we're going to focus on the elbow and the wrist, okay? So I'm gonna be down nice and low on the ground. I'm actually probably gonna sit for the first couple, okay? So the wrist and the hand are very complex joints. They take a lot of work. And one of my biggest pet peeves is with the wrist and the hand is that people who talk about mobility of your wrist and your hand like to do just like this, maybe like some of these, and all of a sudden your wrist is fine. That's not gonna make a noticeable change in your wrist and your elbow over time. So we really need to be intentional with our wrist and our hand because they're such small joint motions and they're very difficult motions to control in isolation because our hand does so much, okay? So in the ankle and the knee, we have these difficult motions, but less so than we do in the wrist and the hand because our wrists and our hands are meant for more dexterity. So there's a lot more intricate motions and a lot less of the ability to isolate motions in our wrist, hand, and elbow than we do in other areas of the body, okay? So we're gonna take this very slow. We're gonna run through joint cars of the elbow, the wrist, and the hand. And then we're gonna run through some other stuff, get some pale rails in for the wrist to work on that. For those of you who are in the gym, that front rack position, the pale rails are gonna help you a lot with that. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so we're gonna start up at the elbow. We're gonna start with our elbow cars. So you guys can do it sitting, you can do it kneeling, upright, whatever you want, as long as you can lock your elbow out straight. Your arms aren't touching the ground too much. I may actually bring this hand over here, this leg over here. Okay, so we're gonna start bending that elbow up, rotating our palm down, extending that arm out, rotating our palm up. And when we rotate that, we wanna make sure that we're not getting anything from up here in our shoulder, okay? So up here is staying the same. We're going to bend, or actually we're gonna rotate down because we just did that. And bend that elbow up. We're gonna rotate open, extend that arm down, rotate down. So up, bend, down, straight, open, close, bend, straight. One more. Good, okay, so that's our elbow core on that side. We're gonna do the same thing over on our other side. So we're bending up, palm down, extend out, palm up, palm down, bend up, palm out, down. One more. Okay, all right. Next what we're gonna do is we're going to work on axials of just the elbow. So I'm gonna kind of prop my forearm, or my arm in my hand like this, and up on my arm, or on my leg. So that I am focusing and making sure that this rotation of our axial is coming just from that forearm and not from my shoulder, okay? So we're going to rotate down as far as you can go. Try not to do too much with your wrist. You're really trying to make this motion come up from that elbow. Hold. Then we're gonna rotate up the other way. And hold. Good, down. Hold. Up. Hold. Down. see my thumb is trying to do the work for me. Good, up. Hold. Down. Up. Good, one more. Down. Up. Good. Whew. All right, I'm gonna face this way so you guys can see for the side. Okay, so we're gonna do that same thing. This position is more comfortable. Okay, so we're rotating down, focusing on that rotation coming from your arm. We're rotating up. Good, down again. Up. Down. Up. Down. Up. One more. And up. Good. Okay, guys, we're gonna come down to our wrist car, okay? So ideally you should be able to do a wrist car without having to hold onto your forearm, but our forearm is not moving during our wrist car. So if you need to hang on to your wrist, just because I really want you to focus in this one on your wrist being the only thing that's moving, you can hold your forearm in place while we do this wrist car. A normal wrist car, when we're doing our morning routine or something like that, I don't want you holding onto your forearm. But for this specific video, I do want you hanging onto that forearm, okay? So we're gonna bring our palm to face in front of us. We're going to push that pinky in, lifting up towards us, out towards that thumb side, down, then we're gonna go out to that thumb side first, pulling our palm up towards us, pinky side, and down. Good, that's one. We're gonna do 3 of those. One more. It's amazing how sore your wrist can get with just the littlest of things. Whew. Okay, we're gonna come on to that other wrist. So same thing here. Palm down, pinky in, up, my wrist does not like to do that. One more. Good. Okay, so now that we've done both of our wrist cars on each side, losing my train of thought. We're going down to the hands. So with your hands, we're not gonna make like little circles with each of our fingers, okay? So that's unrealistic. but we're gonna do a couple different things with our hands. The first one that we're going to do is you're going to hold down all of your other fingers. You're just going to curl up 5 times. 3, 4, 5. We're gonna hang on to that thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what this is just like a quick nerve floss, which is what I like to do for my active range of motion and mobility of my individual fingers. 5, 1, the pinky is really hard. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay guys, then we're gonna do the same thing up. So, I'm trying to figure out the best angle to do this with my thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get those middle finger muscles working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now with that same hand, what we're gonna do, thumb to index finger, thumb to middle finger, thumb to ring finger, thumb to pinky finger, index. So this is just also working on your dexterity a little bit. Okay, good. Now we're gonna do the same thing on this hand. So thumb coming up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Index finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully this is not super hard for you guys to see. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to figure out like the best angle. 1, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now bottom side. So, let me see. You guys can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Then we're doing those individual fingers. Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna come back to our wrists again. We're gonna do a wrist pale rail. So for the wrist pale rails, I'd like to do both arms at the same time. For me, honestly, I'm gonna take off my watch because it's going to be painful and it might dial some numbers or something that I don't want it to do. So we are gonna start with our wrist extension pale rail. So that is going to be wrists flat on the floor. You're going to lean back until you get a comfortable stretch. Ideally, your wrist, your middle finger should be pointing straight behind you. So if you need to be forward a little bit to get that, that's okay. If you can sit all the way back, that's okay too. So just to give you kind of an idea of where my angle is, I have an average front rack, I would say. Okay, and this is about my angle. All right, so we're gonna start with our pale rail. So we're gonna hold it here. We're gonna hold for those 10 breaths. Good, and on 10, we're gonna press those palms down into the floor, like we're trying to pull our hands back to neutral. Good, now we're trying to lift those hands up, getting more into the stretch. Think about pulling your forearms to your hands. Good, and now rest. So we're gonna rest into that stretch. We're gonna do another 10 breaths. Good, guys, we're gonna push down into that floor again. Good, pulling your forearm to your hands, trying to lift your hands up. Good. Relax into that stretch. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a light rocking just to work our way out of this stretch, okay? So you're gonna come forward and back. Forward, back. Think about using your muscles to pull you forward and back. Then we're gonna start to come up and down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Whew. Go ahead and let those hands shake out a little bit. It's gonna be nice when we go back and do it in the other direction. So if you need to curl your hand up a little bit, you can do that. Just kind of get feeling back. Get that nice and loose again. Kind of move those elbows around. And then we're gonna come down to palms on the floor. Or backward hands on the floor, not palms on the floor. So this is gonna be our flexion tail rail. So I almost kind of feel like an ape in this position. If you're really good, you can like kind of get here, lock your elbows back and rock out, okay? I kind of come forward. I still kind of bend my elbows a little bit just to move into it slowly, and then eventually I'll get to a straight elbow position, okay? We're gonna start this wrist flexion tail rail now with 10 breaths. Good, guys, and on that 10th breath, we're pushing the back of our hands down into the floor. Good, and then trying to curl those wrists up more if you need to lean back, pulling those wrists or your palms to your forearms. You can see how much my hands are lifting up, which tells me that my brain is stopping me from getting more flexion before my body is capable of stopping. Okay guys, we're gonna hold this stretch again, and we're gonna get those 10 breaths again. Good, and on that 10th breath, we're pushing down into the floor. Good, now pulling up. That's one thing to think about too, guys. If you ever get a huge lift off, I want you to realize and think about the fact that that ability to lift off means that you have more range of motion than you're letting yourself get that stretch. You will even have more passive range of motion. And your body and your brain is forcing you to stop, whether that's out of uncomfort in that position or lack of time spent in that position. And it's telling you to stop going before you actually are capable of stopping. Okay, good guys, we're gonna go ahead and rest. We're gonna do some pulling ourselves out of that a little bit, and then pulling back in. Pulling out. You need to bring your legs wider, you can. Pulling in. Four. 5. Good, now what I want you guys to do is lift up and then lift down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Whew. All right, go ahead and we'll let those hands shake out again for a minute. Whew. So do what you gotta do to shake those hands out. Oh God, they feel real loose. Okay, so they honestly mine feel super loose this way and pretty much still the same this way. So what we wanna do next is we're going to, like we did with the elbow supination, pronation, we're gonna do some isolated ulnar deviation, radial deviation. So let me see if I can find a better angle for you guys to see this at. We'll go this way. Okay, so ulnar deviation, radial deviation. We're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Okay. Last thing we're gonna do today, guys, is a full elbow wrist car. Okay. So it's gonna seem very confusing. Okay. We're gonna do it all at once in this position, and then we're gonna do it all at once in quadruped. Okay, so palm out, we're going to come up, you're going to flex your hand down. We're going to rotate down. You're going to extend your hand, extend your wrist. Open up. Okay, pull back, wrist comes down, we open, down, open. Up, down, open, down, open. One more. I feel like I look like a sock puppet doing this. Okay, other hand. Up, wrist flex, turn. Okay, last but not least, we're gonna do kind of a closed chain wrist car. So hopefully you guys can see my wrist from this angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one arm at a time. Forward, out, back, in, forward, out, back. We're gonna do them all in this direction, just kind of loading that wrist. Good. And we're gonna go back in the other direction. Loading that wrist and hand. Good. So other side, up, down, over. This side for me is way tighter. Good. Other way. I'm awful at this side. Okay. All right, guys, great job today. So that is it for your week 5. Oof, we've made it through week 5. We have one more week left. So next week, guys, we are going to be doing full body. It's going to be like just a total body mobility workout. Anticipate it to be hard. Anticipate it to break a sweat. Kind of the knee and ankle and the wrist and the elbow are a little bit easier. So get back into the swing of how things felt during like the spine and the hip segments of this. And that's how next week is going to feel. It's going to be a lot of work. All right. And that's kind of where we're going to be for today. Okay. Great job. Keep moving forward. Keep plugging along. And I will see you next week.